I have a special guest here, a really old friend. He and I worked back in Chicago newspapers back in the 90s, which sounds like the 1990s. Mike Riley, how are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, Rob.
Yeah, Mike, you're in Chicago where it's baseball weather. Mike's in the Mojo workshop. My name's Rob Montgomery. We have a fantastic session on local reporting and two fantastic local reporters, one in Austria, Pascal Pletsch, and one in Wales, David Williams. And so David Williams is a 49-year-old journalist with nearly 30 years of experience in the media industry. He's worked on local as well as national newspapers, provides media consultancy all over the world. He's the co-founder of My Town Media Limited, which provides hyper-local news sites to tens of thousands of readers across mid-Wales in the UK. And David, like our other presenters, is a finalist, semi-finalist, or winner in the recent Mojo Awards. He's also trained with me so previously, but those two things are not really related because, again, I do not judge the awards. The judges found his work to be really excellent, and hyperlocal is really where the rubber hits the road a lot with mobile journalism. So, David, if you're around, you could turn your camera on, and you should be able to join the stage here. Fantastic. How's the weather up there?
Hey, we've had a cracking day. I mean, my goodness, it's the end of September and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So this is not my normal work attire, but I've made an effort today just to show how beautiful Mid Wales can be at the end of September.
Well, I'm really happy to hear it. Yeah, hang on as long as you can. Okay. I'm going to duck out and let you take it away and introduce yourself and share a little bit of what your experiences have been with mobile journalism.
Thanks, Rob. Or should I say Professor Rob, my tutor?
I like that. Has a distinctive ring to it. Thanks.
And if I could start by thanking you for putting this conference on. And really, it's a tremendous opportunity to bring some heads together and share some ideas, which is really what it's all about. And it's important because we're in such a fast-changing industry that right. One person might have an idea that we can all follow and copy and share and evolve. So thank you very much to you and your team for putting this on. And
the team is you guys. You all said yes, and so thank you. I'm happy to do this. Like I said, this was a space that was donated to us, and it's for people. These students who are winning the awards. Not only you, but the next generation. That's who this is all really for. Yeah. So that's just where I keep my focus, and that keeps me mostly out of trouble. So hopefully,
thank you, Rob.
Hopefully you'll get us into some trouble here. I'm going to duck out now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm David Williams. I'm a 49-year-old journalist, and I'm currently based in Mid Wales, which is a very rural area, which has been somewhat overlooked by mainstream media over the past couple of decades as the industry has changed. And I'll come on to that a little bit later, but I'll just give you a little bit of a background to myself. I started off in local newspapers as a sort of 18, 19-year-old, and I cut my teeth with an apprenticeship and then went into more regional newspapers and got a national newspaper gig. Before age 25, I had an opportunity to become a sports editor of a newspaper in Dubai in the Middle East. And that started a new adventure for me because after a year or two of being out in Dubai, it was starting to really boom as a city, as an area, and some of the biggest sporting events in the world were heading that way. So I was able to, if you like, evolve into a media consultant working on a lot of events for people like Emirates Airlines, Dubai Duty Free, to provide advice on how they should be handling the media and their media operations for major sporting events. That transpired to doing a lot of corporate work and various things. And then in 2004, I was approached to move to Jordan, where I was a consultant for a gentleman called Prince Faisal Al Hussein, who's the brother of King Abdullah. He was a very vocal person in the sporting world. He wanted to raise his profile, and he wanted somebody to help lift his profile and manage his reputation in terms of media relations and dealing with the media. So I spent 14 years working for His Royal Highness in Jordan, we traveled all over the world. We worked on a lot of things. We worked with a lot of the big news broadcasters, to radio stations, newspapers, and it worked. He's now one of the most prominent faces on the Olympic movement, and is very much an established figure now with the International Olympic Committee. So 3 years ago, I moved back to Wales, and that's where I'm currently full-time based. But I do now work for people and events, particularly sporting events, all around the world, although COVID has slowed that down somewhat. So my background, what happened in 2009, I was spending a lot more time, splitting my time between Jordan and back in Wales. So I noticed that the landscape was changing rapidly in terms of the impact of the local newspaper, the local radio station. BBC Wales Television was spending very little time covering the neighbourhoods where I grew up. And I noticed there was an opportunity. Maybe people were talking about hyperlocal news, particularly in places like Canada and the US and one or two other places. So it was 2009, and I really thought I dedicated 6 months to doing a bit of market research, seeing who's online, what are they doing, is there will people start reading local news online? Is there a need for it? So we jumped into it was a tough time. There was a recession on in the UK, but we decided to launch our company called My Town Media. Myself and who was actually my first boss. He came in as a partner, and he had sort of retired. He was a victim of the cuts that were happening in newspapers at that time, and we got together and we launched My Town Media, which was a hyperlocal news business, which was really focusing on replacing or filling the black hole, if you like, that was really appearing and opening up due to the neglect of the established media, who were really starting to struggle. The rot was setting in. So we saw an opportunity. It was something fresh. There was only a couple of sites at that time specializing in local news online, which seems strange now because nearly every housing estate is covered in the UK by some sort of online news. But back then it was a very, how do you make money? How are you going to make it pay? How are you going to get a wage? Well, we never jumped into it as full-time employers, but we were both working, myself and my partner, and we pulled in another guy. And we did this as a little bit of a side project, but it really took off. Online news was really where everybody was consuming their information. And what we found was that within days, really, the migration of readers from the local newspaper to us reporting daily news for free. That was the key. It was free news. It was regular. It was remarkable. It changed the face of local media in the areas that we were operating in overnight. And I'm glad to report that now, that was 2009, we're in 2021 now. And even though we've had the COVID pandemic and everything that's been happening, we've probably just had our strongest year in terms of revenue. We really did tailor our news to be really relevant to the COVID issues that were happening. Factual news reporting using official sources. And people liked it, and we were getting a lot of support from the health boards and the county council in terms of support and advertising. So, and the government as well. We got good support from the Welsh government because they recognised the incredible role that our sites were playing in keeping people informed through the pandemic. So they came in and supported us as well. So we had a tremendous year. We were doing well, but particularly relevant to this conference is, let's say, the evolution of the sites. We've always got to be careful that what we're doing doesn't get out of date. When we started doing online news, local news was quite revolutionary. It was a risk. It was like, it's never going to work. There's a stronger newspaper. People always have that in their homes once a week, and so on and so forth. But we've seen them off, and what we were always very careful with was making sure that we didn't become irrelevant. Because it went from having 90% of our readers logging on their desktops and on their laptops to now we only have about 15% logging on from their desktops. It's now moved towards mobile and iPads. So we were always very conscious that we were evolving with the times and remained relevant. And like I say, particularly relevant to this conference is the fact that we noticed that people were really starting to consume moving pictures, video. It was what people wanted. We ran a little survey amongst our readers, and probably 100% of people that we questioned said, yes, we want to see video content. This is what I'm watching now on my phone. Instagram is doing it. Facebook is doing it. You know, we want my Welsh Pool to do it. We want my Newtown to do it. This is what people are expecting. So it was a real wake-up call for us. We suddenly realized that we're in danger of falling behind and not being kept up with the current times. So luckily, as we were discussing this last summer, I followed journalism.co.uk on Twitter, and up came a course with Rob Montgomery. I looked into it. I thought, wow, this, you know, I saw the caliber of Rob, and I thought, well, this is exactly what we need. I was a novice. I mean, I could shoot video of the kids playing, and you know, a couple of buddies in the pub having a drink, and you know, whatever it is. But I mean, the thought of making a movie, I mean, that wasn't me. So when I spoke to Rob, he reassured me that this is going to be easy. I guarantee that by the end of this course, you're going to be shooting the type of quality news reports that could be on BBC or CNN. So it was a tremendous course. I really enjoyed it. I gave my heart and soul to it. I really did focus on what Rob teaches, and at the end of it, I had this talent to be able to go and do Mojo, mobile journalism, and by speaking to others that had that were experienced in mobile journalism as well, I was amazed to see that the Reuters and the AFPs of the world are starting to turn to it. So if they're doing it, then it's vitally important that my sites start doing it as well. So what I started doing was following the course, I started to play around with a few features, with a few things, and then when I was confident enough, I was using just my iPhone 6. I've got myself a Rode microphone, and basically, a tripod and a nice little grip to hold the camera. And I think you're talking about £100 investment, apart from the iPhone, of course, and a little light, which I'll be honest with you, I've rarely used. It's there and it's great. So I started doing hardcore focused journalism reports, trying to keep them to 2 minutes, just like the sort of stuff you'll see on the BBC News in the evening. So it was all news reports focused to my local town, sort of thing that people hadn't seen before. So I played about a bit with a few reports, and what we've done is, because our websites weren't ready for hosting the videos, what we've done is we've just been literally posting them up on our Facebook page, and the response has been remarkable, absolutely remarkable. We are getting, I mean, bear in mind, we are operating in a very, very rural part of Wales. It's farming communities and low skilled labor, and we are running, when we run a news report, we're getting 12 to 15,000 eyeballs on those reports, which is phenomenal. And the interaction, the engagement, it's incredible. So it's almost like we've got to get the right balance now, because we still need to focus on our core business, which is the website. But there's a demand now for mobile journalism reports, for video news releases. So we're in the process now of actually evolving the sites. So we're going to be having a dedicated section where we will have news reports, literally 1 or 2 a week, because we're also seeing that this could be a key revenue maker for the business, because we're getting 1 or 2 people coming forward. They're looking at the numbers, and they're seeing the numbers of people that are watching these reports and thinking, I want my brand there. I want to be associated with this. So we're in the process of trying to secure a sponsor. We're confident that we'll have a sponsor in place within the next month or 2. And we hope that we will launch the new section, My Town TV, on the sites in the coming, hopefully 2 months. That's the plan. And my job will be to go out there, get those 1 or 2 news reports a week, and basically make sure that this is a really, really priceless area for people to come and consume their local news in a way that they've never done before. So that's the grand plan on how we've evolved using mobile journalism. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe we won't be doing the online written news. That's the sort of thing that we're looking at. It's quite possible that the TV news could well take over the online news. So we're looking at all opportunities, and maybe one or two of my colleagues can then get trained up as well on mobile journalism, and we can start all doing reports. I was lucky enough, Rob touched on it before, I submitted one of my reports to the Mobile Journalism Awards. It was a 2-minute video news release on how my very small town in rural Mid Wales is fighting back from the COVID-19 pandemic. We got hit very, very hard. We had a lot of deaths because there was a big scandal with a care home where it actually appeared that they were bringing COVID patients to this care home and using it as like a COVID center. So the numbers in our town were dozens of people dying, which was, it was panic stations. Then, of course, you had all the staff that were going home and spreading it. So COVID's been big news everywhere, but it's been a massive story for us because of the way the town was impacted. And the story that I submitted to the awards was just really to show how this small town in Mid Wales is starting to fight back with the vaccination program. That was big news for us. It was the vaccination program was the way that we were going to get out of this. The Prime Minister of the UK had told us all this was a 2-minute snippet on what's going on in my town and how we're fighting back. So I was delighted to have got to the final, and I got runners up to the wonderful report that you just saw prior to this with the artist, which was a magnificent piece of filming and journalism. It really was. So I was delighted with that, and it gave me the confidence now to move on, do more, expand my capabilities, and to really see where I can go with this. I mean, it's exciting, and I think from a professional point of view, it's given me a little bit. It's breathed some fresh life into my career. And I remember talking to Rob at the start, and I said I really feel like I'm getting outdated. I'm becoming a dinosaur.
Yeah, right.
I'm 49 and I'm worried. And Rob was like, "Well, this will put you back at the front," which I feel it has. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely like steroids for your journalism. And you came from a totally different place than Philip, and look where you guys ended up.
Yeah,
finish line, neck and neck. That's one of the cool things. It's so democratizes everything. It used to be the only people who got to do this were people with 4-person camera crews and very expensive gear.
That's right. That's what put me off, Rob. I was always so worried that, oh my God, I don't know what camera to buy. I don't know. But suddenly, it was like, what, are you serious? This is all I need. I've got it anyway. This is crazy. I mean, why didn't I do this 5 years ago? That's, and then a few little gizmos that come along, and, wireless mics and the likes, and
that can get out of control real quick. Let me tell you.
Yes. But I mean,
you start going down the Philip at the road, the 360.
Yeah,
so
that'll be next.
Last year, I attached this to my bicycle and rode 700 kilometers between Berlin and Copenhagen to tell a story every day for my blog. So just beware. That could be you very soon.
Well, another sideline. I mean, we just another thing that came out of it. I was contacted by our local member of parliament, and he gave me a tip off that there was a government minister coming to our town. And he said, he said, I'll give you an exclusive only if you promise me you'll do one of those video news reports and post them on your Facebook page. And I said, well, absolutely. So suddenly I had exclusive access to a government minister, and I interviewed him, and he gave us a scoop about millions of pounds that's going to be invested into the town. And that was all because my local MP loves the videos. He's videos only. He just posts pictures of himself drinking a beer in the pub and saying, support your local pub, and so he's been seeing what we've been doing on the sites, and he got in touch with me and said, the exclusive is yours because I want video. So that was a sideline on the benefits that we're now enjoying.
That's really interesting feedback. Yeah. and that's the way it is in small towns. When you say hyper local, I would just, I was born in a small town. So it is, it's just, small things would seem like small, but are big to the people there. And it's, it never, I guess it always surprises me still. What is it? How many years have we had these? I walked on stage at a journalism conference in Cairo, Egypt, the day after the iPhone came out. I had it in my pocket. I was the first person in the country with it. And I walked out on stage and I pulled it out of my pocket. No one had ever seen one before. I said, this is the most powerful reporter's notebook ever invented.
Yeah.
And the camera was the worst feature of iPhone. I still got iPhone 1 if you want to compare the camera. Because if you're paying attention, it really does give you superpowers. And the camera just gives you more because we are such visual creatures, right? And so because it's eliminated a lot of the technical hassle and the equipment difficulties, it has, if you're willing to take that journey, and it takes 10 videos, that's what it doing the course. It takes at least 10 videos, but these 10 videos will give you those building blocks. And I appreciate that. You don't have to patronize me. You earned it. You earned your ticket here, my friend. And so has Pascal Pletsch, who has been a reporter, a pioneer. And if it's okay, we'll switch, bring Pascal on, and we'll have Q&A. There's a Q&A section. Everyone who's watching, you can toss questions up here, and I'll try and redirect them to the speakers before we finish. Okay, so Pascal Pletsch is the deputy chief editor at VOL.at in Austria. That's the western edge of Austria, right at the Swiss border. And he hosts Vorarlberg Live, a daily news show, which is video, and he's the head of the Mojo reporting team at his small but very powerful media house. Pascal, are you there? I'd like to bring you to the stage.
Here we go.
Hey, like magic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know you're a busy guy. You're like hard to get a hold of because you're doing video. You've got all this stuff going on.
That's maybe one of the cons of the mobile journalism, because now you are always everywhere, anytime. There's always a story there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Well, first of all, let me encourage Dave. Dave was inspiring to see a new start, and I feel what you experience right now, because that was kind of the thing we had here in Austria about 14 years ago. That's how long I'm with this company and working for Vorarlberg Online, doing video. Just maybe as a short explanation, our media house has 2 daily newspapers, the main newspapers in our state, and of course print was always the key asset of this company. And 25 years ago, we also launched an online news platform, which was not a part of the newspaper, which had its own editors, which is an own brand, but was mainly text-based and bringing on news. About 14 years ago, we thought we should start doing videos, and but the key was always we are not doing TV, so we are not having a cameraman, a reporter, editors, stuff like that. So it was really a tough learning time, because nobody did it. There was no iPhone in 2007. So we started with small video cameras, editing on our laptops and bringing it on to a video platform. As Rob just said before, when the iPhone came out, it changed everything. And during the last 14 years, we did evolve every year. We tried out, I don't know, tons of different products. We failed, we stood up, we tried something else. And our main asset was to do live coverage. Live means everything that happens in our small state. It's about 400,000 inhabitants in here. 8 out of 10 are watching our news portal every day. So we are quite big in our small state. But we wanted to bring them the news live. What was happening in every community, in every village, in every city, live. from sports to politics, breaking news, you name it. And it was a tough way. It was a tough ride because, as you know, in the past years, video was not that big. And as we heard just before, video now is getting bigger and bigger. And since a few years, we are experiencing that video is getting more and more important. And as Dave just said before, maybe in 5 years, we will not have text anymore and just have video. Don't know if this is for us the same, but it's already that we are discussing this issue. We made a big step during the last 12 months for us. And that's what I want to talk about today, is the COVID pandemic also changed our way of working very, very intense. For live, nowadays it's easy to make live streams, so we can use online tools to bring more than one or more than two people to our audience at the same time live from different spots in our state. For example, we did one when the borders closed down around here. We are in the Swiss, German, Austrian triangle here. We sent out 4 reporters to the different borders, and we made one like live conference, like might know for Zoom. From Zoom now, we made it out via YouTube to report live from these different locations, which was pretty cool, which worked easy. As all the people before said, all you need is just the iPhone, a microphone, and that's about it. Not even a tripod. You can hold your iPhone like this, filming yourself, just having it like this, filming yourself and getting it on to the people. We reach around 3 million views a month with our videos. So we reached a critical mass, which makes it also interesting for the customers, for marketing. And that's when everything really started to roll last year. For us, a new thing was that we built up a studio. I built up the studio together with Rob. I think it was 2 years ago, Rob. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago.
Remember we had this COVID gap, so I think it was more like 4.
Well, 4 years, yeah.
Well,
true,
it started
true.
because I teach in your academy. I teach the mobile journalism module, and then I think you said, "Hey, I want to show you something." One thing led to another, and we ended up building a TV studio, a little TV studio with iPhone,
Exactly,
iPad.
exactly.
Yeah, that was
just
fun.
using iPhones as cameras, just having an iPad for doing all the editing and stuff like that. And that's what we used every day when we had people coming to our office, to our building, which leads from the chancellor down to, I don't know, a mayor from a village, down to anybody who had a story to tell. So we could really quick do a live show in our small studio, shooting it all with iPhones or with mobiles, and going live within 5 minutes if necessary. Then came COVID, and from one day to the other, we had a lockdown here as well. So we had to go to home office, and what we did is we ripped apart the studio that Rob and me built. Everybody took, I don't know, one light to the one guy, one microphone there. I took the iPad so I could do the editing at home, and we started to do every day live shows from our kitchen together. Every press conference was covered, every news, and people were so desperate to get informed that we immediately, within 2 days, were the place to go in our region to get all the information about COVID, which led to politicians contacting us if there was something new. That really we were the number one news source for all that was going on with COVID. Then we took the next step, and we saw that we reached so many people that we have to do something about our studio when we came back in summer 2020 to the office. and there was a big election going on, a regional election. So we made a TV studio, temporary TV studio, in one of our meeting rooms to cover up this election. And afterwards we said, oh, that's so cool. We had an LED wall. We had professional cameras, just two. We had one guy doing the audio, one guy doing the video, and 2 or 3 reporters in front of the camera. And then we decided, what can we do now? How can we use it after the election? Because it's so cool, we want to keep it. And in autumn, when COVID struck again, a colleague and me made a live show on a Saturday evening when the government announced the next lockdown, which was quite short in time, no preparation. And we had around 170,000 viewers live on that show and that evening. And that was the game changer when 14 years of we are not making TV, we are making mobile reporting, quick and dirty, just to bring the live info as soon as possible, as fast as possible out to the people in the country. We decided, okay, we have to do something. And on the very next day, we started the daily news show, which is Monday to Friday, 5 p.m., between 30 minutes and an hour, where we have live guests in our studio. As we still have Corona or still have COVID, not everybody can come to the studio. So we decided to use, again, the mobile tools, the iPhones, to use Zoom and any other source we could get to get them live to our studio like we do now in a conference. We have a host in the studio bringing all kinds of guests into the studio, which led to that we had live guests from the US during the inauguration of Joe Biden. We had a 2.5 hours special show that night, which opened up opportunities we never had been thinking about before. Because if you look at, don't have to tell you, the classic broadcasting television, you have big teams, you have a lot of money to be invested, you have a lot of equipment, and finally we can now do daily live television shows in good quality, in top quality, bringing it out to the people, reaching 50 to up to 300,000 people every day, watching these news shows using that. And to close my short excerpt, 14 years ago, I remember when 12 years ago, when the first iPhones were handed out to us, and my boss said to me, he does not want to see us using any cameras. He wants us to do this with the mobiles. And I remember the first time I had to go to the governor to make an interview with my mobile. I was ashamed as hell. I said, I cannot go to the governor to focus or put a mobile in front of his face. What the hell, all the broadcasting stations came with their big cameras, also very professional, and then me putting a smartphone in front of his face. And it was, at the beginning, of course, it was like they were looking at us like, what the hell are they doing? And nowadays it's easy, it's simple, and everybody's used to it. And as Dave said before, it's the same with the politicians here. They love to come to the show. They love to get in because it's that easy. It's just a smartphone. So you get that statement, you get that interview much easier than a regular broadcasting station, at least in the region, just because it's that easy. And finally, also what Nico said before, a very, very big plus is that you can go undercover. So you're not recognized everywhere. It gives you totally different opportunities. It gives you a different view on the streets, out in the streets, like people, how people react, how you can shoot different scenes when you just put on your smartphone, which everybody does. Then if you have to have a big camera.
Exactly. And, I remember when we were putting your prototype studio together, one of the things that we were really struggling with, because you wanted to do things like, big television stations like the one that Philip works at can do, which is bring in a remote guest and have the anchor or the host be able to have an interaction with them, and all you've got are, phone cameras and an iPad as a switcher, and it's trying to do everything as well as stream. And that was then really hard to do, and I think that's gotten a lot easier because of some technical solutions, hardware wise, as well as so tell us a little bit from that what we were doing, real basic stuff, trying to get the fundamentals right, light and sound, background, good sound, yes, good clean, and like you said, go into a room, flip 2 switches, go on air.
Exactly.
That's your game changer.
Exactly.
It doesn't need a big crew. It's one person and a producer, and that's it. Yeah.
That helped a lot, because we are a small crew. We are just 3 reporters, so it's not that we don't have the people anyhow. And it gives you the flexibility. It gives you the speed to react quickly to developing stories, to breaking news. Like we're also going out breaking news. If there's a fire somewhere, or if there's a bank robbery, something like that, or a murder, or I don't know what.
This is Western. Come on, this is Western. How often are there?
No, we only do the opening of shops and nice weather reviews and stuff like that. But it takes you 15 minutes to get there, or to get a reporter there, and then it takes 5 more minutes to go live, to get an interview on the scene, or just tell what is happening, and that's what the people really are looking for. Actually, that's what we see. What the people want to know. They see, for example, they see a blue light, or they see somewhere a police car standing, and the first thing they do is they open up our news page, because they know the first information they will get from us.
Excellent. If we've gotten some more people, I'm sorry, our platform hosts have been struggling. Some people with registrations were like, I can't get in. So that's why I'm sometimes backstage over here muting my microphone. But I see Miko's here, and Flores is here. And Jonathan are here. So they paid to be here. And so we're really glad you guys could come. We are live streaming it. We are recording it. All is great. We're having a ball. Just geeking out with mobile journalism. We've had mobile journalism can be social reporting, like Nico started off with that. I mean, the guy makes films, but you see, that's the thing. A video camera just does video, right? This thing, you just gave all kinds of other things. The live example is another powerful dimension. That's why, we're just continually exploring and pushing those frontiers. So what did you do? Because now you've got multiple studios in your facility. You actually now have a video wall. Do you have a picture of that? Maybe I keep seeing this picture on LinkedIn.
Hold on. I will show you. If you follow me. Because anyhow, I need to have a charger, because my laptop cries for we have a video studio, a big one now, which is really a professional video studio, giving us the opportunity to really do TV shows. If you give me 1 second, just head downstairs, and I will show you around. Of course, now there's no action in here, because the show is already over for today. So if you see, hold on, I will show you like this. There you have. I don't know if you see it. It's a little bit difficult to show you around with.
Okay. Yeah, the screen is off, but it's a really small space, right? You've got a little truss lighting now. That's what I told you needed.
As you see, lighting. Hold on.
Yeah.
You have just the lighting up here.
Yeah.
One line. Behind me is the big video wall now.
Yeah. And this treatment on the ceiling helps reduce some of the reflected noise. This broken
exactly.
It's an acoustical treatment. Very nice.
Exactly. And on the other hand, we have the small studio which we built up.
Yep.
If we just need mobile, so we can switch between a professional TV production, if there is time, if there's the need for it. We can do just mobile if it has to go quick. And we can combine both, and that's actually the best thing. So I have a host in the studio and a reporter with the mobile on the scene, and bring them back together.
How cool is that? You just gave us you walked and talked. You did the walkthrough live.
of course, if you want to see some pictures, I can send them to you.
No,
and send
but
it
you can always put them in the chat. Yeah, later. But that's awesome. Hey, are there any questions? If you have any questions, you can put them in the sidebar, the Q&A sidebar, for either Pascal or for Dave. If there are no questions, we could explore the floor. You know what? And thank you so much, Pascal.
Thanks to you.
And you can find him at one of the tables. That's what I want to say is if you, when I stop this presentation, jump back, we're going to jump back to the floor. And the way you jump between tables and a new conversation is just double click on one of the open seats and you'll suddenly be in a video chat with one of us. So we'll see you back on the floor. Okay, I'm Rob Montgomery. This is Mojo Workshop.